I'll stay on Cody because something we talked about coming into today that we were going to make a big part of the show. My time working with Cody Rhodes. My time working with Cody Rhodes goes back before WWE. I went into my archives. I found it. I called Cody Rhodes versus Tommy Dreamer at House of Hardcore about 7 years ago. St. James, New York, in some sportsplex. There was a ring set up on like a, turf soccer field. Middle of nowhere, New York. Cody was doing his whole indie run. I was doing commentary for House of Hardcore alongside Daniel Morrison, a.k.a. Danny Doring, one half of the final ECW Tag Team Champions. I was very early on in my commentary career. I was not good, but I called Cody and Tommy Dreamer. And I would get to the shows early enough that I would talk to people and all that. And Cody was doing his run. So Cody came in, and this is when Cody was on the indies, and you would get the meet and greets in the full suit. And he came in, and I went into the makeshift locker room because that's what it was. It was a curtained off area on that very same field. It just happened to be the locker room. And I went, hey, Cody, nice to meet you. That was it. That's as far as the conversation went. I didn't have to ask him stuff. I knew what Cody Rhodes was doing. He was Bullet Club. He had the fighter, the Top Gun jacket going. And he had the American, he still had the black hair. That's what he was coming out with, that brown Top Gun jacket. And he had the black hair, and he had his American Nightmare. And I was telling the story of Tommy and Cody Rhodes and, the connection to Dusty Rhodes. Very easy stuff to go with. Very easy stuff to bring up. And it was fun to call someone who was so influenced by Dusty Rhodes versus Dusty's son. And it was almost surreal being in that moment because you're like, we're in like this random sportsplex that they play like 7-year-old soccer on, and here's Cody Rhodes wrestling Tommy Dreamer. And, they have the match, and they do the double, the elbows and all that stuff. And Cody wins the Crossroads. So I guess technically Cody was the heel. And Cody, at the end of the match, I knew this was coming. He grabs Tommy's hand and he raises it up. And he kicks him and pulls him in Crossroads. He attacked him after the match. And he got in the top rope and he did the... So me... being who I am, I went to the Tony Schiavone 1996 Bash the Beast call of Cody Rhodes, you can go straight to hell. And that's how I went off the air. And I was not loud enough or anything like that. And I tried to make it a big deal. It wasn't great, but I was trying to sell this big, like, Cody Rhodes is a real piece of trash. And he gets on the top rope and he does the gun to Tommy. And I go, that'll be it for tonight. And we'll see you in Australia, which I wasn't even on those shows. And that was it for me and Cody in the Indies. But he was very nice. And anybody you hear about, what Cody is doing right now goes back to those indie days. The fan base he has cultivated, the ability to start a company like AEW is because of what he did on the indies. This, looking in the eye, having a conversation, doing the meet and greets, selling t-shirts, being the elite, playing to every possible fan base he can. That started when he left WWE. He learned a lot of the indies. He learned how to be an indie wrestler with the Young Bucks. Kevin Owens kind of was like, hey, maybe try to take care of this guy. and ended up Ring of Honor, and he did, Double J's Global Force, and he wrestled in New Japan, and, then the Bullet Club stuff. But when he came out with that weight belt last year, and it had all the names of the places he worked, it's because that time meant a lot to him. And I know his number. He was aware of what places could and couldn't pay him. But he was thinking bigger picture. How do I get the most out of these? He worked some places. They probably don't even exist anymore. But he worked as many places as he could in a lot of different places for a lot of different people. And he didn't take nights off. People knew. There is an element to being a top guy where that the meeting that you're going to have with someone, a fan, might be another day of work for you, but for them, they have saved up for that. They have made a journey to go see Cody Rhodes because they watched him as Stardust, or they watched his dad, or that's what that indie run was. And he gave you the experience. And that popularity grew. And then he joined a group that was, the biggest thing outside of WWE in the Bullet Club. And that became a commercialized Bullet Club. That's the best way I put it. And you might not like that. You may not have liked that run. Hell, they took over Ring of Honor. Anybody who was doing anything else outside of the Bullet Club in Ring of Honor, it didn't mean a damn thing. Those title runs, I always felt bad for Dalton Castle winning the championship when he did. I was at that show. If it wasn't the Bucks or Cody or Hangman, it just... And they were drawing. How could you deny that? I don't think it was good for the health of the company. Hell, they just turned that right into AEW, and they did All In. But Cody making all those appearances and being in there with the right people, being in there with the most popular people outside of WWE, all of that is what helped create AEW and helped cultivate his fan base and cultivate that fan base. Then he had his ups and downs in AEW. There's some stuff he did I would roll my eyes at. And he did too. And he'll tell you that. But Cody knows how to handle himself. And when I was at the WrestleMania, where I think, everybody expected him to show up in Dallas, and Seth doesn't have the opponent, and that weird-ass storyline of him going to Connecticut and going to Vince. But I remember knowing Cody was very likely coming out. It wasn't a done deal. Like, nobody was like, there's things we knew. Like, I knew Roman was coming back. There's one. I knew Roman was coming back at SummerSlam when he came back. I knew that. I think it got out a little bit, but that was known within the company because people had to prepare accordingly. Cody wasn't like a done deal. It wasn't like, oh, he's coming back. Of course, people knew. But that was very much live in the moment. And I was out there for that. And Mike Rome does that great call. And the whole thing it's a top WrestleMania moment because of how special it was. And he took the music that he had made for him when he left WWE and he walked back in the door at WrestleMania with that music. Wrestling has more than one royal family. And he walked back in the door as a surprise opponent for one of the workhorses of the company. And I remember, because that was night one, watching the whole match and everything they did, and, it was fine. It was a solid match. I don't think anybody talks about the match. They talk about the comeback. And there's the American Nightmare. I remember looking around AT&T Stadium and seeing the name he created, the American Nightmare, the graphic he created outside of WWE, plastered all over one of the most famous stadiums in the world at WrestleMania. And that was very telling of where things were at. He created something of his own somewhere else and brought it back at WrestleMania. And they made a big deal. And they did the Cody Vader, as you remember, at WrestleMania. So the next night, he's not on the show, obviously. But he did show up. Now, as soon as I saw him come back, my hope was, this is always was my hope after big pay-per-views or premium live events, we're going to get whoever had the big night at the show on the bump that week live in studio. So I knew, I'm like, I'm going, come on, Wednesday. It's Cody. Cody gets this. Cody knows he should show up at this thing or whatever it may be. He should make all the, and he did, obviously. And I remember he came in with his daughter and Brandy, and they just went out, and someone took him down the side. If you're looking, if this is the ramp and you walk down the ramp, on the side was kind of a big area for production to walk out of backs, and he took the walk. And I followed him because I wanted to watch. And he walks out, and there's fans starting to file in. Very nonchalant, just coming out and taking a look, and they're pointing at stuff for him. And the fans lose their minds. There wasn't that many there, but they lose their minds. And I have video of it somewhere. I just capture that. And he gets it, and and at one point he does and they get up quick. And it was on social media that it got posted of like, there Cody Rhodes popped up at night to a meeting, and he's fired up, and I'm asking executives, and are we getting him? Are we getting him? Yeah, we got him. I was like, I'll talk to him, whatever you. And we get Cody. So we get Cody. He comes out that Raw, which is such a letdown. That was like the Elias debut and all that stuff. Oh, such a high of that WrestleMania. And that Raw stinks. But Cody comes out and cuts the promo about Dusty and, the match at MSG and all that. And they, if you remember, they mess up the Cody Vader. They got it at Mania. Whatever reason, it didn't work, and he stopped doing it. And they started doing the in the entranceway. But I kind of brought, can we try the Cody Vader of sorts for Cody? Can we give him the royal treatment he deserves of coming on the bump for the first time? So I think, Don, we have this picture of so this is it. It's just this is our area down the hall from the bump, or the bump studio, where it used to be shot when it was a show. And basically, we had to have him. We put so much smoke around him. He just went down. He crouched, and he came out. And they shot it beautifully. It came out great. But I thought this was a very cool picture. I found this. This was doing a rehearsal of Cody doing a fake Cody Vader, which is basically him just crouching and standing up. But they put enough smoke around him, and they shot it so it looked like he came out of the Cody Vader. And he comes on the bump and he says AEW within the first couple of minutes, and he's very nice. I don't have anything bad to say about Cody. I never will say anything about Cody, but Cody knows exactly who he's talking to at all times. I think only his closest friends get the 100% genuine real Cody, and I have no problem with him being protective of himself and who he's talking to. Because you don't know who you're talking to and what you're saying. And some people are very loose lips, and they'll say anything. He'll joke in interviews. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. That's very little stuff. He also knows what he's doing there. But Cody's reserved. Cody is very nice to everybody. He's appreciative of the production crew and everything that what they do. And you know what? I wish everybody treated people the way he did. He knows what it takes to put on the show. He knows, this is the second appearance here. This is after he won the Rumble. He knows everything that goes into making Cody Rhodes the guy on the marquee. The guy who's I'm looking for an action figure of Cody. I thought I had one here somewhere. But he knows everything. Oh, I have one here somewhere. I thought I did. Oh, I do down here. Right? Nope, I don't. everything that makes Cody Rhodes WWE superstar is, yeah, he's got to get on a cut a promo with a microphone. He's got to go wrestle. But it's how he's presented. It's the merch people that put his stuff out there. It's the people that line up all those weight belts and he's signing all of it. He appreciates all those people. He came up in the biz. I think it's a big part of it. He knows what it is to be a top guy. And I felt that around him. And he knew us. And I don't know how much he watched the show. And he gave Popola crap for wearing some t-shirt. I think he wore a Glacier shirt the one day. Is that even licensed? Like, he got it. Cody knows everything that's going on. Cody's very tapped in. And he gave us a hell of an interview that day. And I was very happy to have, we had him for the whole show, and he talked about the Bucks, and he talked about Kenny, and he talked about AEW, and that was a time where Vince was still around, so you didn't know what was cool to say, or what, it was Cody. He can get away with it. And I know he was getting coached of, don't say this, don't say that, and he would joke about it. And now that seems ridiculous to be like, you really put handcuffs on Cody Rhodes, not saying like pro wrestling or stuff like that. And he kind of, I think, helped change things. There's two people that I really feel like helped change how things were run. Cody Rhodes and Pat McAfee. McAfee not being that polished guy in a show that rehearsed and wrote 9 scripts for Raw and all these. Pat just show up and Cole was ready. Cole knew how to handle Pat and do the stuff with Pat that he needed to do. Cole knew how to keep the show going. Pat just did whatever. And it was genuine. And that's why people like him. And I think that changed kind of the thought process of, it doesn't have to be this buttoned up. We could talk about stuff. We can acknowledge history. We could be looser. And I think when Cody showed up, it was, hey, he left. He went to every other big company. He got to the top of those big companies. He created a company or helped create a company. Now he's back here. And he's making us money. Maybe we kind of let him do what he wants. And to Cody's credit, and I say this all the time in wrestling, I've said it about people in WWE, I've said it about people in AEW, everybody needs an editor. Everybody. Every booker needs an editor. You need stuff to run. Hey, is this a good idea? What do you think of this? Intelligence is not about being the smartest person. It's about listening to others. You don't have to take what they say and change it up, but it's about getting perspective. Cody followed creative, what it was. This was not his playground. This was not his sandbox anymore. I think Cody had a lot of freedom to do whatever the hell he wanted in AEW, good or bad. And there was plenty of good and plenty of bad. I think coming into WWE at the time, and even still, I think he certainly can, I want to change this or that. But he goes with it. There's a trust there. I think he's got a lot of trust with Bruce. There's a reason Bruce is out there at the end of WrestleMania, and Bruce has been through all of it. Bruce knows his dad. There's a trust there. There was a trust with the fact that Nick Khan recruited him. That tells you plenty right there. Not everybody gets that kind of treatment. There was a trust with Vince. There's a trust with Hunter. And look, it's worked. So Cody knows the top guy stuff. So when he gets hurt, and I was, it's funny because he gets hurt. I'm at Hell in a Cell when he got hurt, and I had heard the story, and I didn't see him all day. I saw him for a second with his jacket up. So I wanted to go out there, and I wanted to be able to see a monitor, number one, but also be out in the crowd for the match with him and Seth. And I saw the reveal. I went, oh, my God. And a lot of people only, he showed a couple people here and there, I think. But when he showed the jacket, that reaction from a lot of people is the reaction of them seeing it for the first time, not just the fans. And he goes out and has the match that he has. And then gets taken out, and he's done. And it was a question of, Is he going to be gone completely? Are they going to have him pop up on stuff, whatever? And you know, they started those vignettes and he announced for the Rumble and all that. So I remember I was doing a show. He's out at the time, I believe, if I'm correct. And I got, let's see if I can find the DM as I'm thinking about it. I got a DM that was sent to me and Kayla from Cody Rhodes. Let's see if I can, there it is. This was, let's see. July 2022. So he had just gotten hurt, right? I think that's right. And he messaged us July 2022, right? So 2023, he comes back. Yeah, okay. So we get a DM, me and Kayla from Cody, July of 2022. Y'all got mugs? And I said, I believe they're supposed to be in the works as part of new merch to go with the new logo. I am now told we can get some mugs and send them your way. I just want to make sure. Cody sent this at nearly midnight on July 19th, 2022. September 2022. WTF is this jacket you're wearing? So I had this gold, I've worn it on this show, this gold Kith jacket. I believe like Seinfeld was the one who was like the model for this whole Kith wear. So it's this gold jacket. And Kayla jokes, he thinks he's a fashionista now. And Cody goes, peacock move. Meaning I'm trying to show things up. It's a shiny satin gold jacket. This, and maybe it's not helping that it's Seinfeld, but it looks like this. It's this. I've worn it on the show before. I've worn it on this show, worn it on WWE plenty of times. He said, you're online shopping from a site where Jerry Seinfeld is their model? Should be knocking Kith. And I was like, that's our demo. And I said, you know, hope you're doing, and he sent, I hope you guys are watching. I appreciate you watching. He sent me a picture of one of his dogs and his daughter. But I thought it was hilarious that Cody Rhodes, while he's on the sidelines, is watching our show and giving me shit for the jacket I'm wearing. And admittedly, I think I wore it like one other time. And I almost wore it the next time he's on. So the next year, he's announced for the Rumble, and I'm at the Rumble. And I see him. He's like, we bumping? Let's bump. And I was just him, you know, that's how I know you, so that's how I'm going to talk to you, which I laughed at. And I think everybody knew he was going to win the Rumble that night. We didn't know he was coming out at 30, but we knew he was going to win the Rumble. And he was cool. He was very happy to see us, you know, see me. And Ricky Starks was there. And that's when Ricky Starks famously got caught on the surveillance video, which if I know the time code, I think I meet him right after he walks by that. And he was as nice as could be. And by the way, Cody had people at WrestleMania when he debuted. You know, he had people at show. It happens all the time. Charlotte has been to AEW, folks. She did visit Andrade. Like, that stuff happens. It's not a big deal. No one's like, oh, the enemy's here. They have to sit over there. It happens. It happens all the time. It's not a thing. It's okay to just support your friends or significant other. So yeah, people have been there for Cody that worked for AEW. There's nothing wrong with it. There's that giant picture of him winning the championship. You can see all the people. It's wonderful. It should be like that. The fact that like people were giving the Huber family crap for being there in the front row when Cody was wrestling Roman the first time is insane. He's very close with that family. I'm happy they were there for him. I'm sure he was happy to have them there. So Cody wins the Rumble the first time. And once again, I'm going, we getting him for a bump? I mean, like, he's got to come in. Like, this is Cody. And Cody knew to make those appearances. And I get told, yeah, I think we have him. So we end up actually shooting something because they were doing the 2K reveals of the video game, the ratings. And he had just shot something. So me and Kayla go in there and we shoot something with him to bring him on the bump. And we got mugs, we promise. So he comes on. And Dom, you could put that picture up again of us. Kayla was in LA doing the show, and we made sure Cody, I don't know if there's another picture we have, but there, we put the mug in a bag and presented it to him. By the way, those mugs never went on sale. Those are made at like Poshmark. There was no new merch. It never happened. The initial show, when it first started, there was like a t-shirt and a hoodie, which I own. I don't know how many people bought those. But when they did the new logo, we're going to get new merch, it never happened. So I was like, hey, I don't want to drink out of plastic stuff or take the Poland Spring wrapper off. We get mug? So Cody has a mug, and I believe we send him home with a mug. One of 2 or 3. And him being on that show, we shot a pre-tape of him pointing at things. So we had a WrestleMania Hollywood sign up in the corner outside of our studio. So he pointed to that. There's a GIF of this. If you type Cody Rhodes point to any like GIF search engine, it's me and him pointing at stuff. And then we come up with the idea. He's like, I'm just going to point. I was like, just point at anything. So he's like, audio control room, white room. And he's just pointing at signs because it felt very Cody on Being the Elite. And he had a fog guy, and he called him, what do you call him? Fog Fred or something like that. It was one of our doc guys or somebody doing camera. He's just pointing at him. And Freddie Fogg, that was his name. Freddie Fogg came up with it on the fly. I think we did it in one shot. And he just was pointing at stuff. I'm like, you ready? Let's bump. Okay. And he came in as great. And I remember having a conversation. He brought something up about AEW, but it wasn't malicious. It wasn't mean. He was just talking about it. And I was kind of like, oh, and this was not on the air. This was before we get on the air. I was like, oh, he's willing to talk about it. But I think Cody picks his spots. I think Cody's aware of who he's around at all times. I think if you're in that inner circle of his friends that get to hang out at the Nightmare Bar, and he would talk to me about watching 94 WWF and watching, DiBiase, and him and I talked all about, we had something up, and, I'd love to have a conversation with that guy, with Cody Runnels. But I'm not there. And not a lot of people get that. And you know what? Like anybody that's at the top, you keep that circle, you keep it tight. But you watch Cody and how he acts in front of when the camera's not on and how he talks to production. I remember when his doc was coming out and him putting out their producer names of people I worked with. That didn't happen. Cody did not, didn't want that to be the case. He wanted those people to get the credit. Think about the fact that we don't see credits on WWE programming like almost ever. It's happened more. Cody wanted those people to get credit. The Ben Houses of the world. People on his team like that. Matt Brain, those got it. He would put their names in tweets. When Undertaker does his Hall of Fame speech and says the name Dan Pucciarelli, the fans are not going to know who that is. I know who that is. I know that that's the guy who made the last ride and Undertaker trusts. And to get to that level where your name gets mentioned by the Undertaker, Cody putting those names out there, that's what he got. And I think that's what he gets about being a top guy. And that's what he gets from growing up in the industry, knowing what goes into the circus, knowing what goes into production, knowing what makes Cody, whether he's having the best night of his career or the worst, still look like $1 million at all times. That goes a long way. Showing up, doing the media. Yeah, he's got the bus and he's got nice amenities, but that's a guy who knew what it took to get to the top, knows what it takes to be there and be at the top, to navigate the murky waters. That documentary is full of shit, okay? I don't think anybody's surprised to hear that. And I appreciate the team for putting that together. I also know everybody has to deal with The Rock. And now Rock has become a meme. Pivot and thing with the glasses. The story has been all over the place. Cody navigated those waters. Cody navigated the waters of Roman Rock overshadowing potentially, but not overshadowing, potentially overshadowing a story that was more than a year in the making, that had a very obvious and clear ending. Couldn't get it done the first time. A lot of things to fight back through on the way. Fought back through them. Of course he's going to get Roman the second time and beat him. That was the correct story. The correct story was told. Sometimes the most obvious story is the correct story. People thought that was the case in Hollywood. It was not the case. Roman won. Cody needed some adversity. I like that. A lot of people didn't. I think it's worked out okay. But Cody navigated that Rock stuff. Rock showing up at day one, mentioning the head of the table. But us not being allowed to really talk about it, because that happened. Winning the Rumble, pointing at Roman. I don't know what's true about that or not, but that, for Roman to be in that skybox watching, you're telling me Cody went into his business for himself, or Hunter did, or just go point at him. He's there for a reason. Cody's not just pointing at the side. He was there for a reason. And it was the correct reason. And we got the correct result. Cody handled that. It ain't easy to navigate those waters. But he was able to navigate those waters because of all the work he put in and how over he was. And still is. WWE's in great shape with Cody Rhodes as WWE champion, as the face of the company. And they're going to be in even better shape when Roman comes back as a babyface. And that is going to be another conversation. Hey, this is Matt Camp. Thanks for checking out one of our recent clips from the Wrestling Mat. Why is someone so close to The Rock kind of throwing Cody under the bus?
Yeah, a lot of people won't engage with Jim Cornette. I did, just because I have a mark for Jim Cornette.
Please subscribe right now. Hit the like and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And I think you should listen to your TV partners. Let me tell you about WWE and a little insight. More subscribers means more content. And make sure you follow us on social media at WrestlingMat23 on both Twitter and Instagram.